Hello, everybody. Great Creator here, and today I'm starting a new series. This is a top five where we go over top five anything Lego or animation or stuff like that. So, join with me today, and he will be throughout probably the entirety of the series. Terronicle 545.
What's up, everybody?
Okay, so today we are going over top five things Bionicle did better than Hero.
Probably really controversial list, but we felt that there were at least 5 things that Hero Factory did better than Bionicle. Obviously, Bionicle is better, but there was at least 5 things that Hero Factory did better in some areas.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, and again, you can destroy us in the comments below, but again, we did feel like there were a couple things that were kind of getting looked over, or I mean, like back when the theme was out, we're getting looked over, and that we thought we would give some attention to. And we may do a things Bionicle did better than Hero Factory list, but that's probably pretty obvious, so we're not sure. But yeah, all right, I'll let you take it away and get on with the list.
okay, great. So, would you like to say your list first, or?
Yes.
How do we-
So yeah, I'll start. Sorry about that. So how we each did it is we each had our own list on what our opinions were for the top 5, and we're each gonna kind of just elaborate on it and talk about why our opinions are like that. So yeah, so for me, number 5 was starting out with number 5. We have the range of villains that they had. Now, I'm not saying that Bionicle didn't have a lot of different types of villains, but normally it was one wave, one type of villain. You know, you got your underwater villains with the Baraki, Paraka, but Hero Factory, one wave would give you a bunch of different types of villains. Like, you know, you got Breakout that had like a metal shark, which is awesome. A guy who steals people's hearts, essentially. Little robot thing. You got. I'm probably not giving very good examples here, but you know, we got a whole wide range of villains as opposed to one type of villain per wave. And again, the writing for them isn't the best, but yeah, it's all about that kind of just kind of wider range, which I definitely appreciated, just a more kind of elaborate, wider range of villains. So yeah, what were your thoughts on this?
I agree fully with you. Obviously, the villains weren't mostly well written.
Yeah.
Or were not individually. Like the main
seriously,
villains were
Core
sometimes
Hunter.
okay.
Why wasn't he in the TV show? It's I don't get it. He that would have been so cool to see Core Hunter.
I agree.
I mean, then again, his character is essentially he's stealing characters' hearts. So
he's so happy.
Yeah,
so
he's such a happy person. All right, but yeah. So yeah, do you want to keep elaborating about that? Sorry.
Okay. That's actually all I had to say. Pretty much.
All right. Yes, we did feel like there was a wider range of villains. All right. So moving on to number 4 for me. Now, for me, number 4, and this is probably going to be my most controversial kind of spot, but the show. Now, I'm not saying the show was good. Okay, the show was writing-wise, the show was not the best, but
mediocre.
I feel like when it comes to media, Lego did a better job with Hero Factory than they did for Bionicle when it comes to kind of cartoons and kind of I don't know how kind of visual media, because Bionicle, yes, we got the 4 movies, yes, we got, you know, Matoran with surfer accents, you know, the tequila from the first movie. So yes, we got those 4 movies. I don't know why I brought up the tequila part, but anyway, yeah. So we had got those 4 movies, and that was pretty much it. Well, for Hero Factory, every single wave we got a new kind of mini movie. And again, the writing really wasn't the best. You know, we have everyone's favorite Bionicle, not Bionicle, everyone's favorite Hero Factory meme. Kike. So there's that, obviously, but, you know, the writing definitely wasn't the best for the show. But the fact that we actually got something for me was decent enough to give it a mention. And, you know, honestly, this is my opinion, this is kind of unpopular opinion, but the first, episodes of the show, they had, you know, the first wave Hero Factory sets and villains. that was actually like that was honestly passable. Like it wasn't like, it wasn't like Gravity Falls or anything like that, but it was like it was still passable as a show, and it honestly wasn't like it wasn't too bad. However, everything like Ordeal of Fire on, I would say, had pretty poor writing. So yeah, again, like I know I'm repeating myself a lot here, but yeah, again, the show wasn't the best, but the fact that we got something and those first episodes were decent enough, for me, was enough to give it a mention. So what were your thoughts on that?
My thoughts were the show was definitely way more accessible than Bionicle.
Yes, accessible. We'll get in more into that later. We'll see.
Yeah, Bionicle had like comics which were, I think, cooler, but like way less accessible than the Hero Factory
Yeah, I mean,
show.
Hero Factory had comics too, right? I mean, they probably did. I just didn't.
They had books for sure. I bought a couple of the books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a Trial by Fire one
Oh,
and
I know
a
that. All right, yeah.
Breakout one at least.
Yes. But again, you can tell that they were probably aimed. You can tell that they're probably aimed more towards younger kids. Again, going back to the writing, I gotta stop harking on the writing. But yeah, so yeah, again, we got something. So yeah, I gotta stop interrupting you. All right, carry on if you had anything else or.
That was pretty much it. But Hero Factory had more expansive, I guess. Like,
Yes.
But like not as expansive in universe, more expansive like on shelves, I guess.
Yes. Again, more into that later. So, moving on to what my number of free is, and I'm totally not trying to move my recording thing so I can actually see my. All right, number 3, we have the wider range of colors. Now, so in Bionicle, really after 2004, it was the same colors over and over again. You got your dark red or darker red. I know there's probably a correct term for it. Dark red, dark blue, dark green, black, white, and then brown. But Hero Factory, on the other hand, like one wave would have like you would have like I remember Stringer, like that character. He had like his color scheme changed so much, and while that is probably a bad, most would see that as a bad thing. In fact, I kind of see that as a bad thing. But it allowed us to we got so many like interesting parts like with him. Like we got the translucent blue torso, which was amazing. And then also probably the color that surprised me the most was the lightish blue that they used for some of the beasts. Like I was surprised to see that in a CCBS set. And then we just got a huge like array of colors, and it just expanded the color palette of CCBS and Bionicle mock building for me personally. And like Bionicle, obviously they changed the colors up not occasionally. They changed the colors up, but they didn't release like new colors every wave, kind of like what Hero Factory did. So yeah, again, kind of an obscure one, but I definitely feel like it deserves a mention. So, great creator, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, my thoughts are definitely the color scheme being changed up was good because like for Bionicle for the longest time we just had dark colors. Then with the Glatorian we got a bit of a change, but that died out unfortunately.
Yeah, I totally didn't forget about that, and I actually totally remembered that the Glatorian actually had like different colors. So yeah, I actually totally knew that, right? Totally.
But like in Hero Factory, like from the heroes alone, we had white, gray, silver, black, red, green, orange, blue, and yellow at least. Oh, and gold.
And, every single trans color ever. Also, that was also there.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Transparent CCBS is awesome. I got a bunch of printed transparent parts, and I think they're the coolest thing.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Then again, how they used it in Bionicle G2, that's a topic for another day, possibly another top 5 list. So see, subscribe to me, cough. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I do that self-advertising though. Moving on to number 2 for me. And we actually both definitely agreed on this. So we're probably Great Creator is going to go into this in more detail when he talks about these final 2. But for our number 2, we had the accessibility of Hero Factory. Now, again, this is kind of like this can be interpreted as a pro and a con. And it can definitely go either way. So the con with this was obviously Hero Factory was so much more watered down than Bionicle, and the story just was not to the level of Bionicle. However, because it wasn't as complex, it was easier for kids to actually enjoy it. And also, Hero Factory's all right, and this is probably my biggest unpopular opinion in this whole video, but Hero Factory, in my opinion, Hero Factory encouraged a bit more creativity. So basically, the main selling point of Hero Factory was creating your own hero. Now, and when the main selling point of Bionicle was obviously the sets, but also, you know, the like really expansive story. And again, for kids, I think that Hero Factory just appealed more to them than Bionicle, and it was more accessible to them. Like then like also all the shorts, they were instead of being direct-to-video movies, even though I think they were actually put on a DVD, they were all on YouTube, so you know people could see them easier. So yeah, it was more accessible for younger kids. Again, that definitely made it that definitely watered down the story a lot, but again, it was more accessible, and in my opinion, that's a huge pro. I may actually make a video on this later on. Again, got to get that more advertising in. Everyone got, I'm joking. All right, great creator. What were your thoughts on this?
Okay, my thoughts on the accessibility part were it's like a lot more accessible for kids to like understand it, whereas Bionicle was across so many different media, or no, so few different media, but like so heavily packed with information. It
Yes.
wasn't as easy to get. And Hero Factory, like the creativity thing, like the build your own hero was a lot in contrast to Bionicle's story-based thing. So Hero Factory is more of like a Lego theme, I think. Like,
yeah, that's definitely a good
creativity.
way to put. That's actually a good way of putting it.
Let's go.
All right, yeah, there may have been a cut there, guys. That was because our recordings got messed up there. But anyway, so yeah, the accessibility was definitely a pro. And yeah, again, Great Creator's going to go more into that when he goes on to his lists. But yeah, so moving on to number one. And honestly, I think number one. Honestly, I think I think this is easily the bet. Like easily, I think this is probably the most obvious pro of Hero Factory. But we got CCBS. Now, CCBS is just again like I really don't think I need to really elaborate on it too much because it was a whole new building system for Lego. It was a whole new step when it comes to large action figure building. And, you know, it's been going on, and even till 7 years later from when it was first introduced, it's still going, and it's still now, like, a regular part of LEGO. And that all started because of Hero Factory, and this new building system has been introduced. And, again, it also this is probably the biggest thing that Bionicle fans get out of Hero Factory, CCBS. Like, look on any mock online from a professional, or not a professional, but look on any high-quality mock online, and you'll see how, you know, CCBS and G1 parts have been mixed. Because, honestly, it's just a really good, like, cool, like, just way to kind of build now. You know, you have CCBS, I'm probably not explaining this the best, but yeah, CCBS, it's just a whole new building system. It's a whole new step for LEGO. And it all came from Hero Factory. And in my opinion, that is easily the number one best part about Hero Factory. You want to move on to your list now?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so moving on to list number 2. Okay, so my number 5 pick for things that Hero Factory did better than Bionicle is consistent characters. Okay, so Bionicle had a larger cast of characters throughout its run. Like every 2 years, we'd get a new set of heroes, pretty much, and that was really cool. But at the same time, I think Hero Factory, with its consistent set of heroes, was like good. They weren't well written, unfortunately, so it didn't bode very well in the end. But the consistent set of characters throughout the series helps just keep track of everything more, I think. Terronicle, would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes. Now, again, this is one I personally didn't agree to. Like, I agreed with it, but I didn't find it too much of a pro, so that's why I didn't mention it in my list. But I can definitely see how this could be a pro. Yeah, it's better to see, you know, your favorite characters return every year instead of having, you know, a whole new group of heroes. Like, I've seen, like, I cannot tell you how many, like, people like you know, Bionicle fans I've seen online who actually aren't into the lore and stuff. They just think it's the same characters every year. And it's just, and again, like for kids, that probably actually may be what happens. Kids may just think it's the same character every year. But, you know, actually knowing that it's the same character every year and just having your favorite characters return is definitely a pro of Hero Factory. And yeah, again, Bionicle, like, still the writing's way better, but again, it can be better to actually, if you want to actually stay attached to your favorite characters. More obviously, you're still going to stay attached to them, but if you want to see like new versions of your favorite characters every year, I definitely say the Hero Factory did that a bit better.
Yeah, okay. Would you like to add anything else, or is that all?
You gotta say that's probably all for me. So yeah.
Okay, great. Number 4, I have villain range. So we've already gone over that. Just the fact that Hero Factory has so many different villains to like elaborate on. Like Bionicle had pretty straightforward. Like the Rakshi were all clone sets. Every Bionicle villain was clone sets until the Baraki, really. And the Baraki were really cool, but like they all still had the same premise. Whereas Hero Factory villains are all over the place. Like we had a giant the giant guy, the witch doctor. At the same time, we had a random scorpion dude. It was really cool. Like just have the same wave with a bunch of different characters. Breakout was really good for that too. And yeah, Terronicle, would you like to elaborate on that anymore?
All right, so I was actually planning on making this a video when original Lego themes have the best villains. In my opinion, and I know from what I've seen, a lot of other people's opinion, the themes that had the best Lego villains were Space Police, both the agents like themes, not really Alpha Team, and so yeah, actually those are two good examples. So we got Space Police and both the agents, and the reason that those have the best villains is because they're not limited to just one type of villain. They're able to do just whatever they want, and they're able to have, in the same wave, you have a guy who can disappear, who also may or may not be tied into Ninjago, cough cough. But we also have a guy who can drill everywhere, and a guy who has huge fists, and it's just you have just a wide array of villains and characters in the same wave, because that's like you just had like those types of themes have that kind of freedom, and I feel like Hero Factory gets the same, like they have the same pro, except for maybe the last two waves the villains got a little bit redundant, and again, like Hero Factory, aside from Breakout, and which again, Breakout had the best Hero Factory villains because they weren't restricted to one type of villain, but aside from Breakout, all of them still had like a theme, like you got jungle creatures, but you still got a wider range of characters other than Bionicle's first 6 years, which were just clone sets. And like again, like Bionicle, starting in 2006, they actually started to have individual personalities, but when it comes to sets, they were still clone sets. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And yeah, we both definitely agreed that was a pro of Hero Factory.
Okay, great. Number 3 on my list is accessibility.
Yes.
So
yes.
as previously mentioned, Hero Factory was over a lot of different forms of media that Bionicle wasn't. Bionicle didn't, unfortunately, have a TV show. G1, obviously. G2 did, but I'm going to pretend it didn't exist. It never happened. Okay, and Bionicle had the movies, which were pretty good, but Hero Factory just ended up doing a lot more, like, in different forms, I guess, whereas Bionicle focused on very few media and lots of story elements. Terronicle, would you like to elaborate any more?
Well, I think I've already said pretty much all I wanted to say on this topic in my list, but yeah, I'll just repeat my general my general thoughts. I can totally pronounce English, but yeah, the accessibility was definitely better than Bionicle. Again, the con with this was it did make the story a bit more watered down, but it did make it easier for kids, Lego's primary audience, obviously, to get into the theme, and yeah, that's definitely a really big pro for me.
Okay, great. And at number 2, I have lead villains, like lead villains plural. Because Bionicle only had one really over the course of the time. Like obviously there were separate leaders, but Makuta Pterodax was the main mind behind all of it. But Hero Factory, every year there was a new villain. Like Von Nebula was obviously, well, in my opinion, is the best written, even though he only came in one episode. And Witch Doctor is pretty cool too. But like the different range of villains to lead the army, I guess, was more broad than Bionicle's, sort of. Would you like to elaborate, I guess?
Well, personally, yeah, I can see how this would be a pro, but yeah, like I feel like this was definitely, yeah, like Hero Factory. Yeah, again, like Hero Factory, yeah, they did have a bunch of different lead villains, like main villains for the heroes to fight. And again, I feel like the pro here is going back to my argument from before. Because they're able to have more villains, it just gives you kind of a different thing every time. But again, I feel like Bionicle's writing is so good that, yeah, just having Makuta Pterodax every time worked. And again, like obviously, obviously we're hitting on Hero Factory's writing a lot here, which I think is somewhat deserved.
It's fair for sure.
Yes. Okay. But yeah, it would be, again, it's better for kids to have a different people every time. And yeah, again, that's probably Hero Factory's biggest pro. It appealed to Lego's general audience more, which again did make the story watered down more. Last time I'll say that. But yeah, it definitely could appeal to more people.
It's more like Ninjago with the different villains than
Yeah,
Bionicle
yeah.
with Pterodax the whole time. Like obviously there's Tuma and I'm trying to find another one here, but
Karzani.
Karzani, yeah, there we go.
There we
And,
go. We're not noobs.
And Icarax, I guess too, but like they weren't really as.
I mean,
important.
Icarax was working for Makuta, so
yeah, and he wasn't really like he did a lot of off-screen stuff. Like it wasn't really written in the plot.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean, bro.
Like killing Botar.
What was that? What? I didn't hear that.
You did not just hear a spoiler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Moving on to number one. Jeez, I wonder what it could be.
Yeah.
Number one thing that Hero Factory did better than Bionicle is definitely CCBS. Bionicle's building system was like really awesome and aesthetically pleasing, but at the same time, CCBS is so like clean cut and it's much more adaptable too. But the reason it failed, I think, with Bionicle's G2 is like it just wasn't the Bionicle aesthetic. It was more the Hero Factory aesthetic. But it's a lot more like you can do a lot more things with it. You can't collaborate with Technic as much as you could with Bionicle, but still, the way that people like mix the two is really awesome. Like I can't do it. Like watch my most recent mock review and you'll see that it's mediocre.
I will say, no, you did a pretty good job. Like I liked how you used the Glatorian armor on his shoulders. We're getting off topic here, but yeah.
Yeah, I try. It was the first test. Hopefully, it will improve.
Yes.
But yeah, CCBS really brought a lot more to the table. Is there anything else we can add here? I guess.
Well, yeah. The part you brought up about it being more kind of like comes to actually like quality of the pieces. Yeah, it was better than because like. I think we can all experience, or most of us can experience, buying a used set or something and finding a cracked part, or God forbid a lime joint. But yeah, CCBS, it's like it's almost like I know it's possible for them to break, but I know that it's under normal circumstances they won't, and they'll just stand the test of time better. And yeah, it was just like I said, it was again with G2, it definitely didn't fit the aesthetic of Bionicle as well. Again, that's a story for another day, but. Yeah, I think we can both agree that CCBS is easily the number one best part about Hero Factory.
Ever.
Of all time.
Sorry, Hero Factory Year 1. You failed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Hero Factory. You kind of ruined it with your last leg. With your last wave. I'm sorry, Hero Factory. All right, but anyway, thank you, great creator, for having me on the top 5 list, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these.
Great. Sounds good.
Yes.
Great creator, over and out.
Terronicle, I don't have an ending.
Yay.
Yay.